I guess this means I'm starting. Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This is where I usually go up for 1 minute to the podium on stage and welcome everyone. Board members, administration, faculty, staff, and of course, families and friends. So welcome to all of you who have played such a significant role in the lives of our graduates. Then I usually ask everyone to silence their cell phones. I am still going to ask you to silence your cell phones because you will not want to be distracted at all during this special celebration. This is a celebration of an incredibly smart, caring, funny, hardworking, and resilient group of young people who truly give us all hope for the future. Following the opening processional, which you will see in a moment, please stand for the singing of the national anthems. We are pleased to welcome the class of 2020.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please join me in singing Hatikva. כל עוד בלבב פנימה, נפש יהודי הומיה ולפתם מזרח קדימה עין לציון צופיה עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים.
Good afternoon. Jessica, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Fantastic. Good afternoon. Welcome, faculty, administration, members of the Board of Trustees, families, and beloved friends of our graduates. And of course, I know you will all join me in welcoming the Heschel class of 2020. Please take a moment to unmute yourselves, everybody, and join me in a round of applause for our fabulous graduates.
X.
It is an incredible privilege, dear graduates. Jess, thumbs up again? You got me? Thank you. It is an incredible privilege, dear graduates, to say Mazel Tov to you on reaching this moment. Today, we are filled with appreciation and gratitude for all you have done. To you, your families, and your friends joining us, thank you for journeying with us to this moment. And thank you in particular for your unbelievable support as we went remote for the end of senior year. Your strength, humor, and resilience have truly inspired us. A special Mazel Tov and thank you to our magnificent faculty, administration, and staff. Your commitment, passion, wisdom, patience, and sense of humor makes this all possible, always and especially right now, and to our dedicated Board of Trustees, without whom we could do none of this work. Special thanks to those who worked so hard to make this ceremony possible. Thank you to Noam Silverman and Donnie Farkowitz, and Gabe Godin and Linda Hall of Sepash, and a huge extra special thank you to Jessica Gribbets for holding every detail and caring about each and every moment. Jessica, thank you. Welcome to all. They say it keeps you young to try new things. Over the past weeks and months, I keep checking myself in the mirror to see if my youth has returned. Given our lives since March, I feel like I should be reapproaching my early childhood days any moment now. And I wonder often why it looks instead like I've aged decades. But still, I keep trying new things each and every day because, like it or not, so much of our current world feels all new. To invoke the most overused word of our moment, overused because of its truth, everything feels unprecedented. Case in point, we are, to state the obvious, all gathered for a Zoom graduation. The list of new things that are parts of our daily lives and would have been completely unimaginable in February is too long for me to recite. We live in a new world of social distancing and quarantine, terms that felt like the stuff of science fiction until March. My fervent hope is that with time, this pandemic moment we're in will feel like an odd blip in history and not the beginning of something new that lasts in a forever changed world. But moments of change are hard to make sense of immediately. Until we have the perspective that only comes with time, we don't know whether we are at the beginning of a new era or merely in a pause until we return to life as normal. And despite this uncertainty, it is hard not to reflect on the new. I think it's human nature. So much feels new, and it is hard not to reflect on things that feel, that's right, unprecedented. In April of 1870, Frederick Douglass reflected on the then brand new 15th Amendment, granting the right to vote to Black men. Douglass observed, I quote, "Henceforth, we live in a new world, breathe a new atmosphere, have a new earth beneath and a new sky above us." I'm going to read it one more time. This is Douglass's language. "Henceforth, we live in a new world, breathe a new atmosphere, have a new earth beneath and a new sky above us." Now, Douglass, a former slave and a passionate abolitionist, was neither delusional nor prone to viewing the world through rose-colored glasses. His words reflect the genuine and profound power of his moment. The Reconstruction Amendments changed our country, abolishing slavery, establishing constitutional protections of equality, and expanding the franchise. And yet, as our current moment has taught us again, the change Douglass applauded did not actually bring about an entirely new world. A changed world? Yes, hugely changed, but a new world with a new atmosphere for breathing, a new earth beneath a new sky? Too simple, too hopeful. It turns out that even today, it is still hard or even impossible for some to breathe. Even 150 years into the new atmosphere that Douglass celebrated. It turns out it's hard to tell when we've hit a moment that's a total game changer and when we haven't. Most change is slow and moves in fits and starts. We get not new worlds, but new variations on our older worlds. Right now, even as our daily experiences of the pandemic feel so new, we are confronted by something that is fundamentally not new: the pernicious power of racism and the imperative for us to fight against it and demand equality, respect, and safety for all people, regardless of the color of their skin. You, class of 2020, are graduating amidst this challenging confluence of the new and the not so new. Here we are. And here's the good news. You are up to the challenge of weathering the newness of this pandemic and fighting the altogether not new, indeed all too familiar forces of racism. And that gives this head of school and this American profound hope. To be sure, it will take work, lots of hard work. You cannot just accept things as they are or just complain about them. Do not go the way of Bnei Israel, the Israelites, in this week's Parsha, Beha'alotcha. The Israelites journeying across the desert feel overwhelmed by the challenges. And let me say, having never journeyed myself for decades in the desert, I fully credit their concerns. I imagine that the challenges felt vast and that they were tired and scared. But what did they do? They began mitonanim ra. They complained. They complained bitterly. Wrong choice. Their complaints provoked not positive change, but divine anger. As the Parsha tells us, a divine fire ravaged parts of their camp. Class of 2020, this is hard. This moment is not what we hoped for. We wish we could all be together in person, and we wish we were not handing you what is in many ways a deeply broken world. And this is no time to be mitonanim ra. This is no time for complaining. This is a time to harness your passions and concerns into actions, to work hard to repair some piece of our broken world. How exactly you do that will look different, I imagine, for each of you. But if you will indulge me, this being a graduation address, let me give you two quick pieces of advice. First piece of advice, and this won't surprise you, you probably see it coming. Let's return to Frederick Douglass. Although the world was not born anew in 1870, Douglass was absolutely right that the 15th Amendment granting Black men the right to vote forever changed the ground on which he walked and the ground on which we walk. The right to vote is a phenomenal power. Use that power. Don't listen to anyone who tells you it doesn't matter. Your vote is one critical way to participate in our democracy, and it is a constitutionally protected way to fight for change. Vote, and when you do, try to feel that you are living a part of that new world that Douglass celebrated in the spring of 1870. Which brings me to piece of advice number 2. Voting is not enough. You need to find additional ways to make change. Find ways to work for equality and justice. Commit to actively fighting against the ways that systemic racism has preserved some of the old earth, sky, and atmosphere that Frederick Douglass thought he had left behind in 1870. You are all graduating from a school named after Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. This is your time. Take your commitments out for a serious spin. Don't succumb to complaining. As Rabbi Heschel admonished us, confront the monstrosity of inequality and refuse to remain neutral. Find a way, each and every one of you, to fight against that monstrosity. Class of 2020, you fill me with hope. Do not give up on the possibility that with your work, alongside the work of so many others, that we can live in a new world, that we and all people can breathe a new atmosphere, and that we can create a new earth beneath us and a new sky above us. And as you journey beyond Heschel's walls and beyond the constraints of these Zoom boxes, know that we will always be by your side. Know we will be fighting with you. Know that we will hold you when it feels like it's too much and push you nonetheless to keep fighting. And know that wherever your journey takes you and however you choose to do this holy work, we will be cheering for you from the Heschel School. Always grateful for the time we had with you in our real and virtual classrooms. Mazel Tov, class of 2020. We look forward to coming together in person in the future to celebrate you further. And for now, we send you out into the world filled with love, appreciation, gratitude, and hope. Thank you. And now for some of that appreciation. As a way to celebrate each and every one of our graduates, the high school faculty created 6-word tributes for each senior. We are now going to share the first part. We will share the rest later in the ceremony. Thank you to our fabulous faculty for writing these tributes. Thank you to Gabe for putting them in video form. And thank you to Dorothy, David, Penny, and Rabbi Natan for reading them. Mazel Tov to everyone.
Neve Binyamin. Special warmth, quiet poise, limitless power.
Sarah Binday captures wondrous images in camera's eye.
Eli Buchdal, always humble, your brilliant insights dazzle.
Jesse Cohen, quietly passionate, deeply connected, bridge builder.
Madeline Cosgrove, opens minds, opens hearts, builds bridges.
Daniel Diamond. Unequivocal presence on stage and off.
Olivia Domansky, collective voice of wisdom, dignity, joy.
Isabel Ehrlich. Deep thoughts, feelings, hidden, yet sparkling.
Maya Elkin, lifting off her perch, she soars.
Maya Eskenazi, her shining warmth brightens every room.
Abigail Finkel, warm, caring soul, leads with joy. Jacob Freeman, makes others muse, smile, laugh, wonder.
Leah Fruchtman. Precision, humility, artistry, all in one.
Noah Gilad, passionate, exuberant, caring, bright as sunlight.
Ethan Glazer. Energy abounds in a rhythmic cadence.
Tara Glick, blossomed into passionate, dedicated, thoughtful leader.
Isabel Harrison Bregman, we're waiting for your first book.
Joseph Hideo, your wry wit, surprises, and delights.
Amy Hidari, team player, knows just how to contribute.
Stav Kinreich, adaptable, joyful, up for any challenge. Ruby
Claywans, empowered activist, fiercely resilient, leads passionately.
Leah Krim, thoughtful, dedicated, always with a smile.
Maya Lerner, making others think, an unparalleled gift.
Talia Levin, calmly exuding leadership in every setting.
Noah Lindenbaum, passionate precision as engineer and debater.
Michael Lipp, the very definition of Renaissance man.
Hadran. It is the rhythm to which all Heschel graduates march, the lifeblood of our farewells. Hadran, return. It is the cadence around which tonight revolves, the heartbeat of our deepest hopes. Hadran alach v'hadrach alan. We will return to you, and you to us. It is a mantra that you will hear at the end of most speeches this evening. As we take leave of each other, it is our parting word. Hadran, return. A request, a desire, a command. Hadran. This phrase, Hadran alach v'hadrach alan, marks the traditional beginning of the Jewish siyum. As we finish a piece of learning, we conclude by invoking this ancient formula, expressing the bittersweet moment of turning the last page. Because to know that you have finished is to realize that there is no more. Hadran, we say, return. It is my task to elaborate on the beauty of this message, to expound on the desire, the power of return. It is a task I cherish at every graduation, but not this year. Not this time. Because let's be honest, dear graduates, you don't need me to tell you about the power of return. You don't need anyone to tell you of the sudden awareness that there won't be any more, the desperate wish to return to what you once had. You know all about return. After all, you have felt the passion of Jacob, who agonized 7 years alone without his beloved Rachel. You have tasted the solitude of Joseph, who suffered 2 long years of unexpected confinement. You have expressed the yearning of Hannah, whose wait for a son lasted an eternity. You have wept on the shores of Babylon, mourning the exile. No, you do not need me to tell you about the wish to return. Psalm 126, though, is worth invoking. A song of ascents. When the Lord returns the exile of Zion, Beshuv Hashem et Shivat Zion, Hayinu kechomim, we were like dreamers. The medieval commentator, Ibn Ezra, explains that the end of the exile will be so wondrous, so unimaginable, so removed from reality that it will have a dreamlike quality. Pinch me, can this be happening? The return itself, the culmination of all that aching desire to be back where you belong, that moment will feel like a dream. Not so, explains the commentator Radak. It's not the ecstasy of the return that will feel like a dream, but the pain of the exile. When we are finally back together, all our prior troubles will disappear from our consciousness. It will be as if we had been dreaming all the time. The power of return, says Radak, is to make the suffering feel as if it never happened. Because this I can tell you about returns. Yaakov returned to Rachel, and the years were like days in his eyes from his overpowering love. Yosef returned to freedom, chains becoming crowns in an instant. Chana gave birth to a son. Our people returned to their land. Thee all returned, and so will you. Like Yaakov and Rachel, you will one day hug each other with overpowering love. Like Yosef, you will be free to fulfill your dreams. Like Chana, your prayers will be answered. You will return to West End. And what the Hadran teaches us is that those emotions you feel for each other, for your lockers, for the building, is what you should feel for your learning. Hadran alach, we say. No other class has already felt the truth of that statement before they graduate. Hadran alach, we've been saying for months. We will return. When will we return? Can we please return? And of course, it was never about the building. It was always about the people and the learning that you did with them, the learning that sustained us these past 2 months. Hadran alach, we will return to you. V'hadrach alan, and you will return to us. We have already proven that being apart does not need to make us distant. We have learned, we have laughed, we have shared, we have worried. We have been separate, but together. Nonetheless, Hadran alach, we will return to you, v'hadrach alan, and you, please, return to us. And when you do, we will fulfill the continuation of the song. Az yimale sechok pinu, then our mouths shall be filled with laughter. Ulshonenu rina, and our tongues with songs of joy. Hadran alach bogrei Beit Sefer Heschel. Mazel tov, class of 2020.
Zev Lerner, no pretense, he just nails it.
Max Manus. And the Pulitzer Prize goes to
Jacob Marachi, let the world know your depth.
Esther Merzinski. Gently commands attention on and off stage.
Sam Morris, deep thoughts simmer, rise, affecting others.
Julian Mosery, golden heart, beating out life's rhythms.
Leah Namdar Cohen, fast, fearless, steady, wins the race.
David Nass. Boundless energy meets a curious mind.
Isabella Nessam, joyfully, consistently eye on the ball.
Ariel Peters. Ariel's art, where work meets love.
Ethan Peters, dancing and dribbling with joyful precision.
Joshua Pollack, perceptive, reliable worker, a powerful combination.
Shira Rosenthal, thoughtful, subtle, yet powerful with words.
Simeon Schlisser, humor amidst a quiet, burning brilliance.
Jonah Schwab. Hidden talent aching for wider exposure.
Michael Schwab, great guy, buys low, sells high.
Julia Schwartz, sets highest bar with subtle excellence.
Netanel Shapira. Clear vision in a frenetic world.
Maya Singer, does everything perfectly, then surpasses herself. Eric Smith, listens closely, internalizes deeply, connects strongly.
Eliana Solomon. Strong, versatile in song and action.
Mia Steinberg, wisdom, empathy, pizzazz, the perfect balance.
Ricky Sutton, you gotta go with your horse.
Jacob Tillum. Your derech eretz underlies your Torah.
Julia Tomasis, compassionate, caring, eloquent, always reaching upward. Caleb Unger, makes his mark with charming candor.
Brooke Verschleiser. Athlete, kind, considerate, selfless, totally fabulous.
Alexa von Muffling, dedicated, caring, will make her mark.
Sarah Zipkowitz. Buoyant exuberism coupled with formidable intellect.
Yella, Rabbi Noam, administration, board members, teachers, parents, and the class of 2020. What was the first word Rabbi Heschel ever spoke? His broader life and work are well known, but what did he first say as a Polish toddler? Mom? Dad? God? No, pluralism. Now, obviously, I can't prove that, but given how essential pluralism is to our school, it doesn't seem that far-fetched. For me, pluralism's personal. If not for Heschel, I simply would not be a day school graduate today. There are no other Jewish high schools in the city where I'd have felt fully comfortable and welcome, and I guess that's the case for quite a few of us. And beyond being inclusive, pluralism teaches us to disagree respectfully, embrace difference, and learn from one another. But what makes our pluralism work? The principle of strength through diversity is nice, but we need only look at America's discourse now to understand that it doesn't always go so smoothly. At Heschel, though, there's a glue that holds our community together and makes our pluralism tenable. And that's our shared Jewish texts. On those ancient texts alone, we've spent hours and hours and hours because seeing the sun in the winter is overrated. And that time was well spent. We practiced critical thinking, logic, and literary analysis, all while learning texts that had moral, practical, and spiritual applications. But today I want to focus on a benefit that's independent of all those others, one that may be the most important of all. That's the connections our texts offer us. First and foremost, Jewish texts became our points of connection with each other by virtue of learning and living them together. We've all studied the story of the Jewish people from Abraham to the kings of Yehuda and Israel. We've also all studied laws about the precise height at which you should place a menorah and learn the 3 sins you should die before committing. Broadly then, our multitude of Jewish texts forms a communal backdrop that brings us together. More granularly though, when we studied those various texts during class, pluralism thrived because we each subordinated our personal distinctions to the text, allowing the words to be greater than our differences. We were united by the very act of studying them together. The beauty of these texts, though, is that the connections they offer extend far beyond Heschel's walls. When our basketball team traveled to Long Island for a yeshiva tournament, we spent the majority of our time trying to crush the spirits of the opposing players. But on Shabbat, we heard divrei Torah from each team present, and we felt almost close to strangers. These connections aren't always limited to Jews either. I was with my family visiting a church in Havana, doing my best to follow a sermon in rapid-fire Spanish, when I realized the pastor is quoting none other than the Lech Lecha line, on which we spent so much time in 9th grade. Around the world, clearly, people care deeply about these sacred texts we've spent our years studying. Why are they sacred, though? If you ask the people in the Zoom boxes to my left or right, you'd get different answers. Pluralism. If you ask me, though, they're sacred because we've placed such a high value on them throughout time. We granted the texts their holy status throughout millennia. And in this moment that feels so, yes, unprecedented, that is yet another connection our texts offer us, unity with our past. When we learn these texts, we learn the history of our Jewish nation, so we understand where we came from in that sense. At the same time, we continue in the long line of Jews struggling with these very texts, and this grounds us. Viewed in isolation, our lives are short, but reckoning with our past gives us the perspective that we're part of something everlasting. These 3 connections all coalesced for me on March 10th, the second day our school was closed. March 10th was Purim, and we woke up and tuned into the school assembly to hear the Megillah. That day, the text literally brought our community together, another shared experience revolving around our scripture. While we at Heschel were on Zoom, though, so were Jews everywhere. Suddenly, we all knew the ups and downs of the live stream Megillah. And we connected with the past as well. As we first began to confront the danger all around us, we read about one of the countless other times we faced imminent threat in our history. The text reminded us that we made it through. So what happened that day was in many ways unusual and bizarre. But despite everything, on Purim Day, we read the Purim story together as a community and a broader Jewish people, chanting the same text we've read for thousands of years. However isolated we may have felt, we were united. Finally, I want to touch on one more connection we create through text, the connection to our future. Because it's our responsibility to make sure these texts continue to be sacred. And in these last 4 years, through our studies, through the importance we each placed on Jewish learning, we all helped imbue our tradition with new life and renewed holiness. As we look beyond this graduation day, beyond this time of overwhelming uncertainty, what we do know is that we did our part to sustain Judaism for those who will follow us. We do know that in doing so, we received a gift from Heschel, a deep familiarity with and appreciation for our texts. And we do know that we will return to this well of tradition. We will return to these texts for their insights, wisdom, and beauty, to be sure. But we will also return to them when we need them most, when everything else in life is unpredictable, because we know that our texts, along with the many layers of connection they offer, will remain. They will remain, and thanks to Heschel, we have the tools to access them. So we will return. And as we do, no matter what the world throws at us, we'll never be alone. When I sat down a few weeks ago to write these words, that was all I was going to say. But I'd be remiss to ignore what's going on in our country right now. For me, things have never felt so torn apart. So as we graduate, let's not forget our study of the prophets. Hoy hasha'ananim b'Tzion, said Amos. Woe to those at ease in Zion, a land which was racked with inequality and sin. We all understand that our world isn't perfect. We know this no matter our differences. And while this speech hasn't centered on the content of the texts we learned, I'll end with this. If there's only one takeaway from our Jewish learning at Heschel, it's that in the face of our world's imperfection, we can't be indifferent. So as we graduate, I'll echo Ariella as I say, let's take it upon ourselves to make change. Thank you.
שבעים שנה במכונית, אני נוסע ומביט על מה היה ומניע, ואיך נפשי עוד הומיע, מהמצדה של הזריחות, ירושלים בסליחות, מחוף כנרת ואכזיב, מהמסיבות של תל אביב, אוויר רע והיפרר,
בראשית החול תפור טלאים טלאים של הסיפור
ושתי מילים להתחבר בחוצות של משורר אני מכאן אני שייך לכל חבר שלי כמו אתה פועמת בליבי אני מזרח מערבי כאן זה בית, כאן זה לב לאותך אני לא עוזב אבותינו שורשים ואנחנו הפרחים המנגירות שבט אחים וזה בית, כאן זה לב לאותך אני לא עוזב אבותינו שורשים ואנחנו הפרחים המנגירות שבט אחים ואחיות שבט אחים ואחיות
Yella, Rabbi Noam, administration, board members, teachers, parents, and friends. I hope you are all staying safe and healthy during this surreal time. Back when we were in school, Ethan Glazer said to me, "Brooke, I can't tell what is more red, your face or your shirt, because as most of my classmates, and probably teachers have seen by now, often when speaking in public or when I become embarrassed, my face turns absolutely bright red." At the start of freshman year, I thought the solution was simple. Avoid eye contact in student government meetings when they ask for volunteers to give announcements at school assemblies, or only participate about once a week in English, just so my teachers knew I was there. Thankfully, however, our teachers didn't let this fly. My teachers continue to remind me that participation is an essential part of our learning and 15% of our grade. Because of one of these reasons, I slowly but surely began participating more in our classes. I could see how my teachers' encouragement had not only pushed me, but my fellow classmates as well to engage in group discussions. All this preparation made our senior year literature circles in English with Alana possible. In literature circles, we got to pick the book we wanted to read. In our small groups of students, we conducted our own discussions on each chapter we read, and every student had a vital role to play in making sure we had an insightful and productive discussion. Daniel, Neve, Sarah, and I read The Liars Club, and each week we would pick a role that ranged from discussion director to summary specialist. Being that we were a small group, none of us could sit back quietly and let the rest carry the conversation. We each had to do our part in order to make the discussion rich and fulfilling. This taught us to not shy away from expressing ourselves and to step up and be counted. Getting to that place in Alana's class would not have been possible without the push from my teachers and encouragement from friends. For me, this all began sophomore year in Lisa Cohen's 19th century history class, when we began learning about the founders of modern-day Zionism. I was incredibly passionate about this topic, so this propelled my desire to engage in classroom discussions. This pattern continued into our junior year history class, when we learned about World War II, the different waves of Aliyah that followed, and the wars that led to Israel's establishment. This year, I was in Joe's American Policy and the Middle East class. Joe opened the course by introducing each topic we would cover in the class. However, each time a subject was brought up, many of my classmates and I could not restrain ourselves from beginning debates right away. We were quite the passionate group, and day after day continued to have fascinating conversations on complex issues taking place in the Middle East. On the final day of our discussion surrounding Israel, Joe posed the question, "What to you is special or problematic about the IDF?" This was the underlying debate throughout the semester, and was the core piece that we all disagreed upon in terms of certain actions of the IDF and their outcomes. Even though we all had such a wide range of beliefs, we learned to be comfortable with opinions that we strongly disagreed with in order to have productive dialogue. Listening to each of my classmates' opinions gave me a new perspective on the IDF, Israel, and the complexity of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that I would not have gained if not for all the varying beliefs and voices. In this class, we weren't just learning about history, but how to listen, learn, and engage with each other. For the 55 of us, our general studies education was not just about the material in our textbooks or learning how to solve equations, but rather learning how to process information, question, debate, challenge, and sometimes concede. We were pushed to speak our minds and form unique perspectives, not only to contribute to class discussions, but larger conversations within the world around us. This feels so important now more than ever. Thinking about the tragedies facing our country, from COVID to the killing of George Floyd, is there any better skill that we could take away from our time at Heschel than how we can listen, learn, and engage with others? As we hopefully depart the Zoom world and spread across the country and globe to further pursue our education, we will take with us our ability to properly and respectfully articulate our ideologies and our passion for learning and contributing to society. Our teachers always steered us in the right direction, stressed the power and importance of each of our individual voices, and made us feel confident and capable, as well as valued members of our community and world. Our courses have instilled in us the importance of being engaged and passionate learners and leaders, even when we don't want to. We have found our passions through our general studies courses, whether that be in Zionism, constitutional law, physics, or English. So I know I speak for all 55 graduates of the Zoom class of 2020 when I say thank you to our teachers for instilling this indelible lesson into our hearts and minds. The Hadran says, "We will return to our learning and it will return to us." Wherever we are, we will return to the lessons you have taught us on how to find and use our voices to make everywhere we go a better place than it was before we were there. And to my classmates, the class of 2020, I hope you take each of these passions with you wherever you plan on going and continue advocating for what it is you believe in. I have learned an immense amount of life lessons from all of you. And while I'm incredibly saddened by the fact that we cannot spend this day together, I'm eternally grateful for the moments we've shared and that I've had the privilege to spend these past years with all of you. Thank you. Now I'm pleased to introduce the 6 senior harmonizers who will be singing the next song.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. There's so much they hold. And just like them old stars, see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul?
I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up, and when you're needing your space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting to see what you find.
Even the stars, they burn. Some even fall to the earth. We've got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. No, I won't give up. I don't wanna be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got. Yeah, we got a lot at stake. In the end, you saw my friend, at least we did. And then for us to work, we did. And break, we did. And burn, we had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I've got and
Bar Yella, Rabbi Noam, administration, board members, teachers, parents, family, friends, and 2020 graduates. The class of 2020 is a group of ambitious, passionate, hilarious, scrappy, one-of-a-kind young Jewish scholars. One of athletic and academic champions, fearless leaders, creative artists, and tech wizards. A grade full of innovators, debaters, comedians, government officials, musicians, Talmudic scholars, and of course, hardworking students. This is a class which, although at times struggled to pinpoint its identity, completely #rebranded to become an exceptionally well-rounded and cohesive grade. Many assume that given our relatively small size of 55, we must be limited in our ability to experience all that high school has to offer. Yet on the contrary, 55 is our greatest strength. It's our unity, our solidarity that allows us to conquer any seemingly overwhelming challenge or obstacle that stands in our way. And look at the challenges we have already overcome. The never-ending school day, which actually made quarantine a wonderful opportunity to introduce ourselves to the sun. All of the extracurriculars that kept us from home until we barely had enough time to eat dinner before school started the next morning. Disheartening color war losses and teachers who did not understand how to use the mute button on Zoom. Not to mention the extensive workload in multiple languages spanning countless cultures and disciplines. And in spite of all of this, we somehow found the time for rich social lives full of constant laughs and good times. In all seriousness though, I wish I had a little more time with my grade on 20 West End. We've each gained so much from our extracurriculars. They allowed us to express ourselves as more than just students and share our talents and interests with the surrounding school community. And we have become enamored of learning, quite possibly the most Heschelian conquest of all. What's most incredible about our class of 55, though, is that we were able to develop truly meaningful relationships, not only with the small crew of our closest friends, but with the entirety of our grade. And these connections went beyond just the surface of knowing each other's names and sharing classes. When I walked through our hallway, I could strike up a conversation with each and every person. Instead of, hey, random Modani Red member, how's the team looking this year? It was, hey, bud, can't wait for our famous trip to a vegan Thai restaurant in Boston next week. And instead of, hey, random Harmonized member, what are you working on? It was, what's up? I Won't Give Up sounded great last week. Can't wait to work on it more later today. And instead of, hey, random boys basketball team members, how's the ball team doing? It was, hey, champs, is Pick still bugging y'all about your free throws? And so forth. Best of all, however, 55 means that we are just small enough to fill a classroom with our energy, but not so large that there is still no breathing room. So before I close, let me take you to one of those classrooms for what was quite possibly my most quintessential Heschel moment. 2 years ago, sitting down on a table in the library in front of the grade after tefillah, I gave a short speech explaining some new circumstances in my life. 2 days earlier, I learned of my mother's impending passing. Once I had finished speaking, I started answering some questions. And at some point, my head spinning, still unsure of this new reality, a line formed in front of me, filled with classmates ready to hug me. I've never formally thanked Shira for asking whether I was accepting hugs at the moment. So Shira, please take this as a thank you. But one by one, each of you embraced me. That moment embodied the absolute best 55 has to offer. A full, extensive community composed of beacons of light who through empathetic intuition understand how to offer their best hand forward. A group large enough for me to really feel the collective embrace, but small enough so that I was not suffocating under stifling sympathy. And on top of that, as if the communal support wasn't enough, each of you shared a unique and individual piece of advice or message of compassion that went beyond just cliches. In fact, the reason I felt so comfortable bringing up such a somber issue, one which in many other communities remains a personal struggle, is that I was sure each of you had distinctive wisdom and comfort to offer, attributes that I would need for the unknown and perplexing road ahead. So family, friends, teachers, parents, and of course, graduates of the class of 2020. Congratulations. As we take this step forward, I hope that no matter how large or small a group you find yourself in, you remember, you return to what it felt like to be an essential part of an extraordinary community of 55. A feeling of confidence in your distinct qualities and your ability to contribute to any community in your own unique manner. Hadran alach v'hadran alan. We will return to our learning and it will return to us. Datan alach v'datach alan. We will direct our minds to learning and it will be mindful of us. I urge you to hold on to this as you go forward and accomplish all the wonderful and incredible triumphs this class is sure to achieve. And when, hopefully sooner rather than later, we are able to return together as a grade in person, no longer as current Heschel students, but rather as alumni who proudly bear the blue and orange flames, as a group that has overcome a global pandemic, as part of a nation that is determined to end racial inequalities, and as a class that has persevered a Zoom graduation. I hope you take a moment to relish being surrounded by our 55 before it's all over again. Lo nitnashe mincha velo titnashe minan. We will not forget our learning and it will not forget us. Lo be'alma hadin velo be'alma de'ateh. Neither in this world nor the world to come. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Ethan, for your brave and courageous words. Thank you, everyone. This has been, I don't know what what you were expecting, but this has been such an incredible moment. I've been through many graduations. I don't think I've cried or laughed nearly as much. Ariella, you have thanked everyone. Before I begin my remarks, I want to thank you. I know I speak on behalf of all of our colleagues, all of our parents, and our entire student body in thanking you for your courageous leadership, especially over these past few months. Your clear-eyed direction and heartfelt protection has sustained us each and every day. May you be blessed with continued koach v'gvura, strength and courage in the months and years ahead. Thank you. Dear graduates, Erev Tov. In usual years, at this point in the program, I would offer the graduating class some timely words of advice to guide you as you prepare to fly from the Heschel nest and enter your independent adult lives. But this is not a usual year. And today I stand before you not as your teacher with wisdom to share, but as your student with gratitude to offer. Because since mid-March, when we shut our physical doors, you, more than anyone, more than ever, have become my teachers. Your words and actions have taught me 3 life lessons that I think are worthy of repetition and emulation. 1, perspective. Over the last several months, my job has transformed into being the high school's CDO, Chief Disappointment Officer, carefully letting students down regarding the latest disappointing news. No, I thought we might, but we won't be able to return to school after Pesach. No, the hockey and tennis teams won't be able to defend their titles. Baseball, you won't be able to build upon your incredible success. And the ultimate team, I'm sorry, you can't travel upstate for states. The Addams Family musical team, you have been working for months on end together. I'm so sorry, the show simply can't go on. And of course, most recently, we will celebrate your graduation over Zoom. Yes, it won't be the same. We will try to make it special. I too wish things were different. And no, we can't rent out Metlife Stadium or a parking lot in New Jersey for the ceremony. Did I say I was sorry? It is a unique challenge to be the constant bearer of disappointing news. You all have rightfully been looking forward to the last few months of the school year and its traditional celebrations. And yet, each time as I shared the latest disappointing development or decision, decisions we wished we didn't have to make. The same thing happened. You took a minute to take it in. You expressed your disappointment. You took a deep breath, and then you did something amazing. Not amazing for a senior, simply amazing for any person. You expressed a really healthy and mature perspective. Well, at least I have my health. At least my family is healthy. We'll always have an undefeated season. It took lots of different forms. It was said in many different ways, but each time it took my breath away. Your perspective brought me comfort and gave me courage to keep going during the hardest moments. May you be blessed to keep this perspective, to keep your humor, to be able to handle challenges with such equanimity and strength. 2, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. If we dare admit it, we forever reside in a fragile sukkah and never in a stable home. Though we now shelter in our homes, we are more aware than ever that we all live together in a shared, tenuous sukkah. And we have no choice but to keep our hope, keep our wits about us, take care of ourselves, and look out for one another. We are living through such a challenging time. The threat of COVID-19, the deep uncertainty it has provoked globally, together with a renewed call for racial justice within our nation after witnessing the unfathomable and slow murder, 8 minutes and 46 seconds long, an eternity, of an unarmed and much beloved member of the Black community have shaken us to our core. We are right to feel scared, worried, and anxious about the future. But we must also feel called to action, inspired by the various ways humans throughout history have adapted and come together to navigate unprecedented challenges. We must dare face the truth that even when things go back to normal, or mostly to normal, we are always in a sukkah and must open ourselves to living in a world that lacks stability and certainty. It turns out it's one of the few constants in life, and you have taught me how we can successfully navigate such a world. What you were counting on, end of senior year, internships, summer jobs, and college orientations with their hallowed traditions all disappeared or have been called into question. And yet you did not falter. You dug deep and said, okay, let's adapt and figure this out. Each evening in the Arvit service, we ask God to spread a canopy of shalom over our sukkah, our humble and unstable homes. We are always living in the sukkah, but for the grace of God, are able to find stability when we are grounded in our purpose, connected to our families and communities, and striving to heal this world. Yes, these are scary times, but you have shown us that you know how to bring courage and perseverance even into the most unstable moments. May this ability only grow and strengthen throughout your lives. 3, and finally, you know the gifts inherent in your tent, and you also know how to seek relationships and meaning outside of your tent. In this week's Parsha, the Israelites, complaining bitterly, bring Moses to a near breakpoint. To help ease Moses' burden, God suggests that Moses appoints 70 elders to assist him. Moses gathers 70 wise men, places them in Ohel Moed, the tent of meeting, and God grants them prophetic and spiritual powers. So far, so good. But it seems that God's powers extended to Eldad and Medad, 2 people who were not chosen to be part of the 70 elders. They, the Torah points out, were situated within the camp, did not enter the tent of meeting. Yet they were acting as prophets and leaders, speaking on behalf of God. Joshua, Moses' most cherished disciple, interprets this as an assault upon Moses' leadership and God's divine powers. Only 70 wise men were chosen. How dare these two, Eldad and Medad, speak in the name of God? Moses, my master, exclaims Joshua, imprison them. But Moses' response, a true surprise to me each time, Vayomer lo Moshe, hamikane atali, are you jealous for me, Joshua? Umi yitain kol am Hashem nivi'im, ki yitain Hashem et rucho alehem. How I wish, Moses says, that all of God's people be prophets. Students, the blessings and privileges of a Heschel education mean that you, like the 70 chosen elders, have had gifts bestowed upon you by virtue of the nuanced and textured education you received here at Heschel. You will always have a place within our tent at the Heschel School. Be aware of these gifts and the authority they give you. Use your education wisely. Use it not simply for the sake of your individual success or your own community's stability. Use it to bring justice, peace, and understanding into different communities, those naturally close to your hearts and those you are learning to embrace. We are already so proud of the ways in which you have modeled this. But remember this always, there are many, many people outside of our tent, an entire planet in fact, many who have gifts, if different, but as powerful and special as your own. They have what to teach you. They possess ideas that you need to let yourself be challenged by and experiences that you need to bear witness to. Our ancestors were slaves 3,000 years ago in Egypt. This is a core part of our narrative. But the ancestors of millions of our fellow Black citizens were slaves in this country, our country, just over 150 years ago. We need to bear witness to their daily experience, no less than to our own. Seek out the proverbial Eldad and Medad, listen to them, learn from them. All of God's people have what to teach us. You have spoken up with a clear voice about this many, many times, but never more clearly than in the last few days. We hear you, we are proud of you, and we will learn from you. Some things will get easier eventually. I hope soon we will all be able to gather in person and celebrate your growth and success. But in the meantime, do not give up hope. Do not let up. You will help America live up to its ideal of justice for all. We will get there because of your courage and perseverance. Take to heart the prophetic words of James Baldwin from his 1964 essay, Nothing Personal. One discovers the light in darkness. That is what darkness is for. But everything in our lives depends on how we bear the light. It is necessary while in darkness to know that there is a light somewhere, to know that in oneself, waiting to be found, there is a light. Your light shines bright today. Nurture that light in yourselves, believe in its potential in others, and work tirelessly to let it shine throughout our community, throughout Am Yisrael and our nation. Mazel Tov. It is now my pleasure to introduce David Hess, President of Heschel's Board of Directors, who will bestow the diplomas to our graduates with the help of our beloved families. David.
Thank you, Rabbi Noam, for your beautiful words. On behalf of the entire Heschel Board of Trustees, let me add my heartfelt congratulations to you, the class of 2020. I hope you are all as proud of your achievements as we are, not because of what you've endured over the past several months, but really having nothing to do with what you've endured over the past several months. We know that you will do your school, your families, and most importantly, yourselves proud in the years to come, and we cannot wait to see what you will achieve. So here's how this is going to go. First time, so we're going to take it as it comes. Donnie's going to spotlight every family at which point I will read the names and will ask the proud parents to turn over the well-earned diplomas. Neve, you're first up, so here we go. I'd ask each family as we are approaching the alphabetical order of your name that you please stand up, readjust your screen so that we can see you in your full glory. Neve Benjamin. Sarah Binday. Elijah Buchdahl. Jesse Cohen. Madeline Cosgrove. Daniel Diamond. Olivia Domansky. Isabel Ehrlich. Maya Elkin. Maya Eskenazi. Abigail Finkel. Jacob Freeman. Leah Fruchtman. Noah Gilad. Ethan Glazer. Tara Glick. Isabel Harrison Bregman. Joseph Hedea. Amy Hidary. Stav Kinreich. Ruby Clowens. Leah Krim. Maya Lerner. Talia Levin. Noah Lindenbaum. Well presented. Michael Lipp. Zev Lanner. Max Manis. Jacob Marachi. Esther Merzinski. Sam Morris. Julian Mosery. Leah Namdar Cohen. David Nass. Isabella Nessum. Ariel Peters. Look at that, Ethan Peters. Joshua Pollock. Shira Rosenthal. Simeon Schlisser. Jonah Schwab. Michael Schwab. Julia Schwartz. Natanel Shapiro. Maya Singer. Eric Smith. Eliana Solomon. Mia Steinberg. Ricky Sutton. Jacob Tillum. Julia Tomasis. Caleb Unger. Brooke Verschleiser. Alexa Van Muffling. And Sarah Zipkowitz. Congratulations to the entire class of 2020.
Wow, this has been quite a beautiful ceremony. Dear seniors, graduates, almost alumni, it's a real zchut, a very special privilege for me to stand here right now through Zoom to offer you, our dearest graduates, the priestly benediction. This is the prayer that parents traditionally offer children at the Shabbat table, and it first appears in Parashat Naso, which we would have read in Shul this past Shabbat. Birkat Kohanim, the priestly benediction, contains 3 distinct lines. The first talks about protection, the second on chen, on goodness, and the third talks about shalom. The first line, ve'yishmerecha, protection. You are graduating in a time when we are keenly aware of how vulnerable we are as human beings. Life is fragile. There is a lot that is unknown, and the unknown can be scary. You have modeled for us what it means to build a supportive and loving community. This has been true throughout your Heschel tenure, and especially during Heschel at home. You have exhibited resilience and flexibility. While searching for answers and adapting to new realities, you have filled our hearts with hope and with strength. Each morning when we wake up, we recite Modani. We thank God for the simple gift of breath and life. We do not take either breath or life for granted. We pray, our graduates, for your health, your safety, and your ongoing ability to build community together. The second line, V'yichuneka, chen, goodness. Chen encompasses your passion and compassion. We have seen your passion on the field and on the court. We have witnessed your passion in classes and debate, and we have been in awe of your compassion as you hold each other during difficult times. We ask that God shine God's light onto you, God's light of Torah and God's light of Orah, the light of wisdom, insight, and learning together, intertwined with the light of joy, the light of Orah. Moshe Rabbeinu, our teacher, pleaded with God to see God face to face. And after such an encounter, Moshe's face radiated light. May you find moments to encounter the divine. May you always see yourself and others as created in God's image, B'Tselem Elohim. We pray that through your actions, God's light will shine brightly. We believe in your capacity to instill goodness, kindness, patience, and deep love in all people you encounter. Shalom. In 11th grade Talmud, you studied a sugya about compromise. The question was asked whether shalom and mishpat, peace and justice, could coexist. For if there was true peace, wouldn't that mean there wouldn't be justice? And if there was real justice, wouldn't that mean there would be no peace? But then the Talmud offered an alternate understanding that understood peace and justice as co-reliant on each other. Our city and our country feel very broken at this moment, and we are relying on you to lead us in our work to increase justice, peace, chesed, and tzedek. Through your wisdom and your kindness, your passion and your commitment, we trust you to guide us towards shalom, towards peace, and towards wholeness. So graduates, as you continue on your journey, we bless you. Yevarechecha, may God bless you. May you be a source of comfort and protection. May you elevate each moment and relationship to be one of kedusha, one of holiness. Ya'er, may the divine light pique your curiosity, fill you with awe, and inspire you to be courageous. Yisa, may God grant you peace. May you always navigate machloket, values and tension, with integrity. Rely on your humor, your insight, and your energy as you fill the world with grace and compassion. Work to build a world of shalom and of shlemut, of peace and of wholeness. I'd like to invite each graduate to now rise, and I'd like to invite your parents to embrace you and hold you as I will lead us in the recitation of the Hebrew words found in the programs. I hope parents will join me. I hope faculty will join me, as we have felt in partnership with parents all these years in reciting the traditional words of the Yevarechecha. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha ויחונקה, יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך shalom. Congratulations to all our graduates. This is the moment to move your tassels from the right to the left. Mazel tov to all of you. Mazel tov to our graduates. Yella.
Mazel tov, everyone. Thank you all for coming together to make it possible for us to have this extraordinary celebration. We wish you all Mazel tov. We wish you love and peace and safety. Please take this moment. In just a moment, we're going to walk out to a beautiful montage. Thank you, Maya Lerner, for making it for us. Thank you to everyone who made a part of this. Please unmute and let's share one more round of applause with our graduates. Before
Hey!
everyone.
Everyone can throw up their caps. Yeah.
Take it away, Donnie.
איך שהלב נפתח, חובק יד לעולם, ובקריאה גדולה, נשיר לאהבה. אמרו הכל אפשר, בדרך העולם, שיר לאהבה. אמרו הכל אפשר, זה לא מאוחר, השחר כבר עלה, זה זמן אהבה. טהור שבשמיים, יחד לב אל לב נפתח בתקווה לאהבה, ורק אם נאמין ובלי שום דאווין בדרך העולם, נשיר לאהבה. נפתח ונראה טהור שבשמיים, יחד לב אל לב נפתח בתקווה.